Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Oh my goodness, we kick off the show with some big news because coming up on April the 16th on Sunday, it is the premiere of Paula Roy's Favorite Foods Season 4. And Paula joining us here on the show today. Welcome. Great to have you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Take me back to Season 1. Did you ever think you'd be doing Season 4 here now?
I wasn't sure I'd make it through Season 1. There was so much to learn. I mean, I love food, I love cooking, but wow, it's fascinating what goes on behind the making of a show, as you know.
Yeah.
And it's one of the parts of the journey that I have loved the most.
Tell me about that. Like, for people that don't understand what it's like, putting a show together, and of course, it's a different kind of dynamic because you're in the kitchen by yourself, right? And you've got to learn to talk to an audience at home and showcase everything you're doing at the same time.
And choosing the recipes and, sometimes testing them, getting them written up because there's a written component that accompanies each episode of the show. Figuring out what I had to pre-make part way so that we wouldn't slow down filming.
Right.
Writing the scripts for everything. What recipes are going to look good on camera? Like, something might be really delicious, but if it's brown and more brown, I'm not making that on TV.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stews you see,
exactly,
like that sort of brown stew that people are showcasing on a cooking show. Have you kept the same philosophy for all 4 seasons, or has it changed at all?
No,
same
format's
philosophy.
the same, and I think it really works for the kind of food I'm presenting, which is family-friendly, not ridiculously complicated, not a lot of ingredients that are going to send you hunting all over town.
Right.
And there's always 3 recipes, and then I do a hint or a tip in each one. So teasing one in this season's new episodes. For all my life, I have to do it the wrong way. Yes, I've grated to get lemon zest top down, and it'll fall down into my bowl or whatever,
right.
And you lose a lot of the essential oils. So instead, and this is so counterintuitive, you're meant to do it this way and gather everything here, and it makes a huge difference. So the hints,
you just blew my mind.
Thank you. That's what I go for with these hints, and I get a lot of feedback on, oh my gosh, never knew that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Another thing I love to do is showcase really good kitchen tools. I'm not a big gadget girl.
Okay.
Give me a good knife, a cast iron frying pan, and I could probably just about make anything.
You're good to go. That's all you
things like
need.
These Queasy Pro cutting boards, they go in the dishwasher. My one favorite thing, I don't want to have to scrub those. Little rubber feet so they don't scooch all over the counter. A little rail here to catch drips. I love that. Silicone spatula is another big favorite. I know my grandmother and mother would probably like to have a wooden spoon in their hands the moment they perish, but I just love those things. Dollar store find. You can get them at the dollar store all the time. So that's the kind of things, just informal. Imagine you're having a cup of coffee with a friend and they happen to be cooking at the same time. That's kind of the vibe of the show.
I love it. I love it. Well, I've watched the show many times, and as you said, it's not something where you're doing simple enough recipes, but I think a lot of recipes, we don't think of ourselves. So I think that's the beauty, right? Is taking, everyday, perhaps staples, food items that we do, because I tend to bore myself to death sometimes, right? Like, I do broccoli the same way each and every time.
Call me. I've got so many ideas.
I can imagine. So what have we brought here today? Are we doing anything at all? Do you want to do?
So we're thinking about Easter, and 2 of these recipes are from the new season of the show. Easter is not a one-day event in most people's households. It's a whole weekend, right? It's a long weekend. You might have guests from out of town, or you've got people coming and going from your house. Because this year, I know COVID's around, but I sense a willingness to gather.
Yes.
That, unlike really what we've seen in 3 years. So these are jalapeno and chive cornbread muffins. So delicious with eggs, really great with a soup or a stew, a little pick-me-up with some cheese in the afternoon. So that recipe is on my website, Constantly Cooking, and it'll be featured on the show.
Wonderful.
And then we sashay over here
what have you got over
to
here?
a Waldorf pasta salad.
Oh, I love a Waldorf.
I know, classic, everybody loves it. You can sprinkle those pecans on top. And in this case, I've just cooked up some orzo, which is little rice-shaped pasta, and mixed that in so it's got a lot more bulk. Again, a great lunch. It would be a great vegetarian main if you've got vegetarians coming.
Of course, absolutely.
Use vegan mayonnaise. It can be a vegan main, so you're welcome to spoon a little into that bowl if you want to have a little taste.
Before we get to this last one, we've got a little teaser.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to throw out a little teaser of what you can expect in Season 4 on Paula Roy's Favorite Foods. Have a look at this.
It's rolling, and done.
As an avid home cook, I love creating and sharing recipes that take advantage of fresh seasonal produce and a few neat ingredients to add a healthy and tasty twist sometimes. When you watch Paula Roy's Favorite Foods on Rogers TV, I hope you'll find recipes that inspire you, excite you, and help to make your time in the kitchen just a little bit more fun and successful. My approach to food is pretty straightforward. Fancy is fine, but when you're in a time crunch or have a really hungry and patient family to feed, I say simple recipes made with wholesome ingredients that you probably have on hand are the best.
Good. Good stuff. All right, good stuff. We're all done.
Yippee!
I love it.
That was the moment we finished filming.
Was
so,
it really?
Yeah,
That was the
moment.
last one? Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
haven't seen
excellent.
that before. That was really fun.
That is fantastic. So we did. I'm going to give this little taste test, but
Yes.
as I do that, tell
So,
me about this.
This is just my favorite quick and easy Easter dessert. It's gluten-free, which I love to have kind of tucked in my back pocket. A couple of quick ingredients. These were called lots of different things when I was a kid. I called them chocolate macaroons, not to be confused with macaron, the French dessert.
Okay.
Oats, coconut, cocoa, milk, butter, and sugar. And then you make these little nests and then perch jelly beans or mini eggs in them. And they're just the cutest darn little
those
things.
are great.
Really fun project to do with kids because it's just about a minute on the stove and then the kids can do the rest. So really fun.
What speaks to how successful your show is you've got some other exciting news to share.
do.
Tell us about that.
Well, I didn't even really understand what this word meant, but it's gone into syndication, which means that some other Rogers stations in southwestern Ontario have picked up the show, and it'll start airing roughly around the same time later this month. And we're kind of hopeful maybe some more will grab it from the Rogers Library as well.
No kidding. That must, a sense of pride for that, right?
Well, my mother's really proud.
Yeah.
So I'm taking all this as pride. I love doing it so much. It feels like such a privilege that whatever happens, I'm great with it.
We should also mention, you're also a recipe developer. You're a food writer. So tell me about that side of things, because that certainly helps with preparing for the show, I imagine.
In
too.
Ottawa in particular, it's great to be in that part of the food scene. I'm happy not to be a restaurant critic. That's a job I would never want to have.
You and me both.
So subjective, but I am constantly learning about new things chefs are doing, or new ingredients that have come to town, or things that have become really popular all of a sudden. And I don't always incorporate those into my recipes, but sometimes I'll hear about something and think, I could do a Paula Roy take on that. So I love sort of little fun mashup things like tucking shepherd's pie in potato skins, which I did the other day.
Right.
Really,
Nice.
really good. Yeah.
That's a great
idea.
idea.
So it's fun to just kind of keep my finger on the pulse of the food scene and then let it continue to inform my work in a really fun way.
You must have seen an incredible growth. Like, I'm born in Ottawa, raised in Ottawa. I've been here my entire life, and the restaurant scene has just grown exceptionally over the last 20 years.
And I think that speaks to people's interest in food. We have a lot more diversity in our restaurant scenes. There's Peruvian restaurants, Cambodian restaurants, things that didn't exist when you and I were growing up.
Yeah.
And people are traveling, especially in Ottawa. We're considered a very well-educated, well-traveled population for the most part. So people are interested in touching base with the cuisine they enjoyed on their travels, or they're reading a book set in Burma, and where can they go and get Burmese cuisine? It's really, really neat. And I love that flourishing aspect, and kudos to restaurateurs, because it's still a tough business.
It really is. It really is. Paula, congratulations on season 4.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you joining us here today. Season 4, by the way, debuting Sunday, April the 16th at 9:30 p.m. Of course, you can check the RogersTV.com schedule to find out some other times. We'll be right back.